Hello and welcome. You're watching Daytime Talk, coming to you live on Lagos Television. I am Ajibola Ojeshola. Some Nigerians, especially members of the opposition party, have complained at different fora that the delay in the appointment of ministers by Mr. President is becoming unbearable for them. They are flying around as those that will be appointed as ministers. On the program today, we are looking at the drama behind the appointment of ministers and the quality of people that Nigerians expect Mr. President to appoint as ministers. Joining me on the program today is Dipo Olayoku and, of course, Deji Awobotu. It's my pleasure to have you, gentlemen. Okay, the noise and complaints about the delay in the appointment of ministers, is there any need for it? Is it too late for you as well?
Yes, before we launch ourselves into the program, I think our heart goes out to Mr. Stephen Wosu. He's a very good friend, his family, over the abduction and kidnap of his wife.
Yeah.
They are a very good couple and very fond of each other. I just hope Nigerians will continue to pray that God will touch the hearts of those guys behind this kidnap and they will release Toyin very soon to us. Now to the issue of the appointment of ministers. I don't think there's a genuine reason for this complaint about the delay, because I don't think the president has violated any section of the Constitution. Yes, the Constitution says the president, that section 14, section 3, the composition of the government. And I don't think the president has composed his government as of today. And the Constitution didn't give a time like when ministers should be appointed. But I think there's a need for Nigerians to understand that on May 29, 2015, when the current president took charge, Nigeria was at what the Americans would call ground zero. I remember that the last 2 weeks of the last administration, it's like Nigeria stopped breathing. And what I mean by Nigeria stopped breathing, that at a point, Nigerians were buying fuel at 600 naira per liter. A friend called me about 23rd or 24th. He wanted to travel and he told me that he just bought fuel at 600 naira per liter. I operate from Apapa, that's where I do my business, and it has to do with import and export. I know that since March this year, importers stopped importing because they didn't know what was going to happen in Nigeria. We remember that about that time, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, banks were closing at 1 o'clock because they said they had no energy to power their generator, and there was no light. Even it got so bad that the mobile network was sending messages to their customers that they should expect disruption and disruption in services. So Nigeria needs to understand the country President Buhari inherited on May 29. And it's like, I wonder when people talk about the man didn't hit the ground running. I said, you can only hit the ground running if you are start landing on a solid ground. But if you are landing on a marshy ground, what you do is you already need to even stabilize first before you start running. So there was no point, there was no way the man could hit the ground running. And if you look at what the man has been doing since he got into office, he has a clear idea of what he wanted to do, even since he has been trying to become the president of Nigeria. Because no matter how good your policy is, no matter how laudable the programs you have as a president, you need the civil service to drive these programs. And the man knew for the fact that the civil service of today is no more the civil service of many years back. And that's why it's very instrumental. Nigeria didn't know why. When he set up his transition committee, he put a seasoned and a highly respected ex-permanent secretary in the person of Ahmed Jordan. And this man came and realized that what we have as the civil service, there was no way, even if you have appointed a minister, an angel from heaven as a minister, to go into that civil service, the person will be polluted. So what the guy has been trying to do is to make sure that they sanitize or cleanse the civil service before you appoint the ministers. So I get agitated, I get disturbed when people say it's because he couldn't get credible and capable hands. That's not the truth. The man realizes the fact that even if he has appointed credible and people of integrity into that ministry, there was no way those people will not be polluted. And that's what he thinks has now been able to cleanse the service. Don't forget, for the past few months, this man has been interacting directly with the civil servants.
With the permanent secretaries.
And they are the technocrats in the ministry. The ministers are just political head. Some of us had the opportunity of working in the ministries. We know the type of the civil service that we had then. So if this man says, okay, let me get a direct feeling of what has been happening in the civil
First-hand
service.
information.
Yes, and then let them know that this is my policy trust, so that whenever the minister comes, you will not stand as the plug in the wheel of progress. You will know that this is my minister, this is what we want, so that if they are driving you like slave, I'm sorry to use the word, like slave driver, you will know exactly what they want from me. I think the man is in order. He has only convinced some of us the more that he knows what he wants as the president of Nigeria. There's no delay. I don't think it's too late for him to appoint a minister.
Okay. Our viewers can also join us on the program by sending text messages to the number scrolling on the screen. Text messages only, please. Okay, Deji, have we lost anything at all without the appointment of ministers?
We've gained more.
In terms of what?
Now, we've gained more. I'm going to look at it from two perspectives. Now, the complaints by the opposition from some quarters that the president has actually not done the right thing, he should have hit the ground running by appointing ministers. I don't think those complaints are actually founded on a genuine base. I'm going to look at this from the perspective of the fight against corruption. Now, before the president took over in May 29th, we realized that a whole lot of corruption was in the air from the civil service, from the perspective of civil servants, from whoever is in a position of authority at that point in time before handing over. And appointing ministers at that point in time certainly will be continuing with the old process without purging. So the first thing we needed to do was to purge the system. And part of the purging process was to ensure the concept of the Treasury single account come into force. Because if you appointed ministers before then, before the issue of the TSA, you will agree with me that the multiple accounts that we have flying everywhere, government money in private hands, government money in different accounts, government money not in government accounts, will continue. And corruption would be the order of the day. And that is the fight the present administration was actually against. So to that point till date, the president has actually done a whole lot. We've not lost anything. Rather, we have gained more in terms of power. We have gained more in terms of security, fight against the insurgency. We've actually gained more. So, and it's so clear. These are not hidden facts. These are facts that everyone can see. The benefits that Nigerians are enjoying. At the moment, we're just barely 100 days in office. So there's a whole lot we are still going to gain. So not appointing ministers before now, Nigeria has actually gained more. The appointment of minister will even take us to where we will be at the long run. And again, I want to point this out that September 2015 is going to be a great month. Because the appointment of ministers they're not ministers that you will appoint today and get fired tomorrow. So those are the members that will form the cabinet of President Muhammadu Buhari that will take Nigeria to the next level. So appointing them, the press should expect another fight effective October. Because you're going to talk about, there'll be a lot of social media fight against, you appointed so-and-so, you didn't appoint so-and-so. So that's talks of war.
Are you saying all these because you're from the same political party?
Not at all, not at all. I'm talking from facts. It's so clear, yes, I am from APC, no doubt about that, but the slogan of change that President Muhammadu Buhari has preached before handing over, and even into his administration, has not changed.
So this is part of it?
This is part of it, yes. So, and what I expect Nigerians to do, irrespective of the party they belong to, is to support him. Because first, we are Nigerians before belonging to a political party. So if you realize that the president is actually doing well, then you should accord him all the necessary support.
Well, you didn't support the PDP then?
Well, because we saw a lot of impunity in the system. We saw a lot of issues in the system. We saw a lot of corruption in the civil, and these are corruption that are so obvious. You get into the civil service. Why on earth will a government ministry, department, or agency have multiple accounts? That's case number one. This case had actually been years before now, for 48 years, for heaven's sake. The constitution has been there from day one. And the rule says that government's money must go into government's account. What actually gave these DGs, the chief executive of ministry, department, and agencies, the right to open multiple accounts? So if we don't have a will at the helms of affair to drive government's policies, to drive government principles, to drive what the constitution says, then technically I can tell you that there will be a lot of impunity. And that is basically what the party, as an APC, which President Muhammadu Buhari has actually come to ensure that government money must be in government accounts, whether you like it or not. Ministries, MDAs are not personal businesses. So if you are there as a director general, if you are there as a chief executive, it is not your personal private business. So if the constituency move government money into government's accounts, then you don't have it. It's not something you fight. You're entitled to your salary, you're entitled to your allowances. Then why on earth will you be looking for extra money that is not yours? That is fraud.
So he's actually taking his time to know what exactly is on ground.
That's it. He needs to have an idea, because Nigeria is exposed in terms of debt. I can't be unduly exposed, having so much money to pay in terms of liability, and I have money in account that I'm not even aware of. So it's sad. So taking its time to get all these accounts together, to get all these funds together, to know how much Nigeria has, is the right step in the right direction. So whoever is going to come in as a minister knows that it's not going to be business as usual. If you're going to come in, you're going to hit the ground running, because all the basis, all the platform has been created for you to hit the ground, deliver the dividend of democracy to Nigeria.
And the president already has first-hand information about.
So you can't come back and tell him what is not.
And agencies, okay? Okay, as we speak, the DSS is doing some background check on some of those that have been touted as will be ministers. You feel that is also necessary?
Yes, it is necessary, and it is not a new thing. It's been there for a very long time, because if you want to bring somebody in as a minister, it's a privileged position, and then the person is expected to be of impeccable character. The person is expected to be above board. That has been the essence of this DSS scrutiny, because they call it security check. But hitherto, it's like they just see it as a formality, that, oh, let's fulfill all righteousness. That's why you see different characters getting into the ministerial list of appointments, even in spite of the DSS security check. You see, the Nigerian Constitution has provided layers of checks to ensure that whoever becomes or gets the nod finally to become a minister must have satisfied certain conditions. And that's where the issue of the president himself will be there. After scaling through the president's eagle eye, then you send it to the DSS. And the most important factor, which the drafters of the Constitution felt would be the final gate, where whoever gets through must at least satisfy certain conditions that will say, oh, this man indeed is capable of what being a minister. It's qualified. The National Assembly, the Senate. But unfortunately, you have been watching.
It was as if you read my mind.
Unfortunately, you have been.
Will it not be business as usual when they get to the Senate?
That's why I said, if you look at what what the president has been doing, because it took him this time, because these people that he appointed are people that are well known to him, not somebody. I remember it was Chief Obasanjo when he became the president. He told Nigerians that in his first coming in 2003, that of all the ministers he had, about 36 or 42, that only 3 of them were known to him. The others was contributed, I'm sorry for using the word contributed, by the godfathers. But it's like the president avoided this time around. So if you cross the hurdle of the layer of the president, then you go to the hurdle of the DSS that are supposed to, as expected to do this necessary security check, whether you have criminal record in the past, whether there are some shady deals which you did that were not exposed to people, and they will dig into it. And then by the time it gets to the Senate, we only hope the Senate will not do the take a bow system. Because when you look at the way our senators, because I hope, like we have been clamoring, that by the time the president will send the list to the Senate, he will attach their portfolios to these people, so that the Senate will have enough
the right questions to ask.
God bless you. Will have enough grounds to question these people. Some of us we still remember with nostalgia when the former American Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, though the former senator, when Barack Obama sent her name to the Senate, you know, for 3 days, not only one day, for 3 days, the senators that were supposed to be her colleagues were grilling this woman. I want to use the word grilling, to make sure that he actually knows the job that she's expected to do. And I think that's exactly what we should be doing. Because you see, Nigeria has got to a level that you could not be answering the name minister just because you are a friend to somebody who is a friend to somebody that's a friend to the president. We need somebody, because let me tell you one thing. Nigerians don't know that God loves this country so much. It is not a matter of being partisan. God loves this country so much that President Buhari won the 2015 general elections. Only God knows what would have happened to this country if those people have won again. But now we are seeing that Nigeria was just sitting, like the Yoruba would say, our was sitting on the mat, spread on a big hole, nothing under. So it was, we were going just to make believe when we knew that Nigeria was in serious problem. You can see what we are happening now. So whoever is going to fit to emerge as a minister must know that they need to roll up their sleeves, because there's a lot of work to do. And if we go by some of the names that we are seeing, it seems as if the president is sitting in our minds. Because some of us believe...
I'm still coming back to those names,
because
I have some of them
believe
here.
that the president should look beyond party boundaries, especially if you want to get his ministers. I want the APC people to understand one thing. President Buhari won the March 28th election, not because of APC alone. It was a Nigerian project. I knew a lot of professionals, lawyers, bankers, engineers that didn't belong to any political party, but they were going from house to house campaigning that no, we need to rescue this country. That was the project of Before Nigerians in 2015. It wasn't about political party. There was the need for us to rescue Nigeria, and that was why some of us went into the field to say no, this thing cannot continue. And some of us are happy. What has been happening since May 29. The president has not, and I don't think he will disappoint us.
Okay. Quite a number of Nigerians are afraid because of people like you, politicians. They believe that ministers or the post of a commissioner is food for the boys. Should Buhari dance to the rhythm of the party, or you feel that he should appoint core technocrats as ministers?
The party also has a role to play here. At the end of the day, it's a call of the president. Now, but you will agree with me that the president has an obligation. What's the obligation? To appoint ministers, at least one from each state. That's what we have in the Constitution. So if the president is going to reduce the number of ministers from 42 to 36, fine. Or if he's going to reduce it to from 36 down, then the Constitution will have to be amended. So we have to look at that from one perspective. Two, the president being from the north may not know everyone from all the states. He may not know. That's my opinion. However, he will need to rely on some structured machineries to ensure he gets credible candidates to fill in the position of ministers. Now, he will get suggestions, no doubt about it. However, in getting those suggestions, he would have created what I call criteria of the kind of individual that should be nominated. So the fact that, yes, you're a party chieftain and you are nominating Mr. A does not mean I will choose Mr. A.
If it does not fit into
that criterion. So, and as Deepa mentioned earlier, we need people of impeccable character. Now,
how many of our politicians are impeccable with their characters?
It's not compulsory you pick politicians.
Oh.
That's the point. It's not compulsory.
Will the party allow that to be?
Well, the party also knows that there are people out there that are not politicians, but they can add value to the system. We're talking about change. All right? And, you know, if you're chosen as a non-politician to go into the ministerial cabinet of President Muhammadu Buhari, that to some extent will motivate you, because it's going to bring a sense of ideology into you that, if this party can do this, then I should even be a member of the party. So it could be a way of even wooing the would-be members to join the party, because APC is a party to, in my opinion, that's just the party to be.
You wouldn't say less.
I wouldn't say less, but that's a fact now, because they've been doing a whole lot in terms of adding value to the system, adding value to Nigeria. The fact that this has been done years before now, this is a period of change. And I will implore all Nigerians to ensure that, yes, we get credible individuals into the system. Now I have this fear.
Which is?
The Constitution has vested the power of those appointed by the president to be approved by the National Assembly.
Yeah.
The implication here is, if those individuals goes through the National Assembly screening, how competent are they?
Members of the National Assembly?
Members of the National Assembly to, you know, interrogate, to get some, you know, sensible questions out of the would-be ministers.
But we have people from different kind of discipline as members of the National Assembly. We have
doctors, but you
we
should understand that going into the National Assembly is not on the basis of your skill or competency. It's on the basis of you having electoral value. And you can have electoral value without being, the minimum qualification that you need to get in there is school cert. That's what the Constitution said. So I could be a roadside individual with school cert without having detailed technical skill or knowledge, and I get into the National Assembly. So if you have more of those individuals at the National Assembly, what technical question would they be asking the would-be nominees to become ministers? So
okay, that's another angle to the story, but the angle that I want you to look at is, as we speak, the kind of peace that we have in the Senate is kind of doctored. So won't they make an attempt to frustrate Mr. President?
The Nigerians will rise to that. Nigerians will rise. Now, they have to do their job as members of the National Assembly to screen the nominees. Now, and in screening them, in my opinion, I think they should put party issues aside and they should look at the interest of Nigeria as a country. Nigeria should come first. All right, because we are putting party issues before the screening, then it's going to bring a whole lot of discord, it's going to bring a lot of conflict. So, in my opinion, I think they should just, number one, Nigeria first. This individual that's coming in is going to add value to the system. It's going to continue with a clamor of that change. It's not going to be business as usual, no doubt, but it's not going to be business as usual. So the clamor that we have in the National Assembly, or the supposed peace that we have right now, they should just allow it to continue. Let them do the normal business of legislating, of screening, and the rest of it, and allow the screening exercise to just go smoothly.
Majority of our political parties, are they matured enough to actually look the other side when appointments like this come?
Yeah, it depends on the focus of the man in office. I mean, the president. Don't forget, President Buhari got the mandate after. I think.
Don't also forget that politics is an investment.
Yeah, we will get to that. We will get to that because the president got the mandate after the fourth attempt, and then if you look at the way people have been talking about him. Some of us have been following him since 2003. We have always had confidence in him. And even not only within Nigeria, you had the comment of President Obama when he hosted the president. You had the comment of the British Prime Minister Cameron, and even just of recent, you have the the French President. Nigeria is lucky that we have somebody that has been acknowledged both home and abroad as somebody that has integrity. And the president rode on the wings of this integrity stuff to get into office. So definitely, whoever is going to work with him will have to look at his integrity and stuff. So I think that will be the watchword of the president in appointing his ministers. We have said something, and I believe that people that invested in bringing the president into office must have seen as a sacrifice that how do we rescue Nigeria? Because it's even for their own sake. Because only God knows what would have happened in Nigeria.
To the investments.
Yes, to the investment. If the people have won the election, it could have been a spontaneous reaction from all Nigerians because Nigerians really had got it up to this level. It's like the emergence of President Buhari as the president is just like a saving grace to those people you think invested in this presidency. Because at least Nigerians now have hope that, perhaps tomorrow will be better. Unlike the hopeless situation that Nigerians were before the March 28th thing. So if the investors saw it, will see it in that perspective, that okay, that our investment is only to save our heads too.
Political or economic investors?
No, political investors, because it's an investment. And don't forget, like the former national chairman of the fund NPN said, late the Adesanya Akinloye, he said that to a politician, preparation for the next election begins immediately after this election. So if President Buhari is able to assemble a good team that will give Nigerians, even if they are not able to solve the problem within the next 4 years, but will give Nigerians that hope that, the future is better, the future is better, my children will come into a Nigeria that will be better for us, then the election of 2019, or let me say the victory of 2019, is already assured for APC. So it's not a matter of, it's only when I have a minister. Yes, there's a need for him to also empower the minister because we have to face the reality. Like you say, it's an investment. And then there's a need for the party, unless we want to deceive ourselves, to empower individuals in the party to make sure that the party continues to survive. We cannot run away from that part. But what is most important to Nigerians now is how do we get a government that will be a great departure from the old order, the ones we have been experiencing. Because Nigerians seem to have got used to bad governance. That is why when NEPA or PCM brings light all of a sudden, after 24 hours, NEPA brings light, Nigeria will say up NEPA. That is when you see a governor or a president maybe walk on a 2-kilometer road in about 7 kilometers road. They will say, thank you, Mr. President. Nigerians have got used to bad governance, that they don't even know that they are entitled to something better than this. It's only the few people that our eyes are open and say, no, we can get it, we can have it better. So if they are able to deliver dividends on democracy to Nigerians, that means that victory of 2019 is already assured. So it's like the politicians or the investors should see from this perspective, that we should be looking at 2019. How do we make sure that by 2019 we will retain this office? Because don't forget that PDP is already building up. They are not going to bed. So it's like the APC needs to, what can we do to make sure that at least we spend the next 4 or 8 years is to make sure that we give Nigerians democracy. And Nigerians have so much hope in these ministers. Nigerians are waiting. I think that's what he was trying to say. Definitely, some people will find fault with whoever he appoints. It's either, oh, this one is too short or it's too long. This one is fair, this one is black. But the Nigerians know the quality they want in ministers. And some of the names that have been paraded will definitely fit much into the expectations of Nigeria. Let's just wait, because this thing is just in the realm of speculations.
Okay, we'll still come back to those names. Prince Olu Fagboro from Abuja sent in this one, and it says that we cannot shy away from the fact that there is delay in the appointment of ministers. However, we should endure the slow pace of the present administration owing to many challenges the country is facing presently.
Absolutely agree with that comment, because as was earlier mentioned, there were lots of rots in the system when the present administration took over, and we needed to clean the system. We needed to ensure that things are actually working effectively. Now, as mentioned earlier, ministers are political appointees. Those that are doing the job are actually those the PAMSECs technically. So they have a lot of roles to play. So they need to know their modus operandi in terms of, as far as this administration is concerned, these are the basic things we want to achieve, and we must achieve it in record time. Now, with or without the ministers, yes, it's okay for us to have ministers, and that's what I believe Mr. President is going to get over with come 30th September latest. He has promised us, and he will deliver. But Nigerians should also take note that there is likelihood that the list of ministers, in my opinion, might come in phases.
Not once.
Not once. So the key ministers might be appointed at the first sweep.
Are you speaking the mind of the party now?
Well, no. Well, I'm not here on the platform of the party. I'm here as Deji Awobotu. But as a member of the party, I need to also let Nigerians know that if you don't get the list of 36 ministers at a stretch, you should understand that there is still works in progress. But key ministers like ministers of finance, ministers of works, justice, key ministries, certainly we have, in my opinion, they're going to have them listed come latest by 30th of September. But if you don't get the whole of the 36 ministers, the president is still working on it in the bid to get the right candidates to fill it. And don't forget that some of the ministries will also be, merged at the end of the day. So this might take a bit of a while to get the right candidate to fill in that dual responsibility. So technically, Nigeria should still exercise patience, considering the fact that work is still going on and we're getting dividends as we speak.
Okay, I'm sure we have to take a break now. I'm sure Nigerians are very, very anxious as to who will be the minister for these and that. Well, we'll still come back to all of that, the second segment of the program. We'll take a short break. It's Daytime Talk. We'll be right back.